Hey everybody, and welcome to my writing playground. This is episode number 6 of Diverse Sci-Fi and Fantasy Stories podcast. I'm your host, author Alicia McCalla. Thanks for tuning in. This podcast is all about me honoring my son's legacy by sharing my diverse science fiction and fantasy stories with the world. Today, I have the wonderful opportunity to share the works of another author who writes diverse science fiction and fantasy. Let me tell you about Nicole, my friend Nicole. Nicole Givens Kurtz is the author of 8 novels and over 40 plus short story publications. She is a member of SFWA. Her science fiction novels have been named as a Carl Brandon Society Parallax Awards recommended title, Fresh Voices in Science Fiction finalist, Dream Realm, an award finalist in science fiction, and Epi finalist in science fiction. Her short works have appeared in Cereal Boxes, The Vela, Salvation, Bayan Straight Outta Tombstone, Bram Stoker finalist in horror, Sycorax's Daughters, and White Wolf's Vampire the Masquerade Anthology. All right. Hey, welcome, Nicole. I'm excited to see you.
I'm excited to see you too. Thank you for having me.
All right. You want to tell us about the project that you'd like to share today and what's the genre and if it's a part of a standalone book or series?
All right, so today I'm here to talk about my latest release. It's called Kill 3 Birds, a Kingdom of Avis story. And so it's the beginning of a series of novellas that take place in the fantastic world of Avis, which is a kingdom where people are avian. They follow a set of, it's the kingdom is pretty much is ruled by an organization called the Order, and the Order is made up of think of it like the Vatican, where there's a pope, there are cardinals, so there's an owl, that's the pope, there are cardinals, of course, and then there are falcons and hawks and condors. And my main protagonist is a hawk, and hawks have the unique ability to see the unseen. So they have a special blood magic that's passed down through their mothers. All right, and so my protagonist, Prentice, is a hawk. And so what the hawks do is they are dispatched from the Order to certain eggs. Eggs are cities. So think of states or provinces. Those are called nests in the Kingdom of Avis. And the cities within those nests are called eggs. And so in Kill 3 Birds, Princess is called out to investigate a supernatural or fantastic death that has happened in Gold, which is a remote egg at the think of it like a mountain community, very small, very rural. And so she's dispatched out to investigate a missing girl who's found dead. Where it gets a little bit thick and kind of mysterious is that when she gets there, because of her ability to see the unseen, she discovers there are actually 3 dead people. And so now, hence the title of the work, Kill 3 Birds.
Okay. This sounds interesting. I like it. Okay, so do you want to tell us why you're the person to tell this story or write this series? And to me, your stories are always unique, but you can tell me what makes your stories unique.
So I really love mysteries, but right around March, where the United States was going through a lockdown, I wanted to write something fun. And I told my husband that I wanted to write something fun and I wanted to write something for me. Something that I would like. I enjoy reading everything that I write, but I wanted something lighter. If you think about my Sybil Lewis series, it takes place in post-apocalyptic DC. You know, it's very pulpy noir-ish, right? It's kind of gritty. And the same is true for my Minister Knights of Soul series. Again, it takes place in a, on Valoris, an ice planet. It's very dark and gritty, sorcery, magic, space opera-ish, but it's still dark and gritty. I wanted something fun. And so, and I wanted something fantastic, and I wanted to like build a world and be more intentional about the world I was building. And so I took out my OneNote and I was like, okay, I don't want to do elves. I don't want to do dwarves. I don't want to do anything Tolkien-ish. But I wanted to have a lot of variety. And I actually like birds. I'm actually quite fascinated by birds. And I was like, I think what can I do with hawks? Or hawks are like one of my favorite birds.
Yeah.
They have excellent eyesight. And so I was like, oh, what if this and what about that? And then of course, I like mystery, so almost all of my works contain some element of suspense or thriller-ish. And so that's kind of where why I think I'm unique and why I feel like this story had to be told. It was fun for me. I had a great time writing Kill Three Birds. I love the Kingdom of Avis. I have a lot of fun coming up with stuff. And so it just lent itself to variety, depth, and I can expand it. And so that's kind of why I chose birds. And this was way before the whole Amy Cooper thing and black birders. And so what I did do though, because I did want to honor black birders and scientists, black scientists that focus on birds.
Right.
I ended up doing a lot of research into black birders. So all of the nests in the Kingdom of Avis are named after black birders. Ooh, and so all the eggs are named after white popular or famous birders, but the order resides in the nest of Lanham, which is named after Dr. Lanham, who is a black doctor of what bird? I can't think of the word for bird doctors right now. I'm sorry, it's early. Down at Clemson. So
I don't know it either, but
I'll think of it in a second.
Is it ornithologist or something? Because I don't want to make myself sound stupid, right?
I think so. I can't remember because it's, again, no coffee. But that, yeah, I wanted to honor him. I wanted to honor other black birders, and women. And so that's kind of the way the Kingdom of Avis is structured.
Okay. I'm excited. I love that connection, though, honestly. You always do such fantastic things.
Thank you.
All right. So you sort of alluded to it, but what's your reason, or maybe even what's the inspiration behind this book series?
I did want to start out with a bunch of I did want to do novellas, and so I also wanted to incorporate more of of African culture into my fantastic work, and so like a lot of I'm writing the second novella now, which is called A Theft Most Foul, and all of the birds or the people, right, are Kenyan birds. And so like a lot of their names are Kenyan. And so I try to, because the Kingdom of Avis is so expansive, and if you buy the paperback, if you buy the copy of Kill Three Birds, there's a map. Shout out to Sarah McCacklin for making my my map of the Kingdom of Avis. But it's so expansive, and it gives me an opportunity to just run around and be able to learn more about birds and different types of birds and their behaviors in various cultures and in various settings. And so that made it really fun too. I like learning new things, right? I enjoy learning lots of things, but I also like grounding my fantastic worlds in real life stuff.
Reality.
Yeah, so that made me it's fun. And I think that's kind of the inspiration with what's going on in the world, with all that's going on in the world. I needed something, and I told you it's for me. I wrote Kill Three Birds for me. I need something light and something fun to write. And so that's my inspiration for it.
Perfect. Okay, so do you want to tell us about the theme or something that you'd like the readers to take away from this series?
Sure. So one of the things in Kill Three Birds is in the Kingdom of Avis, they're a matrilineal society. So they worship the goddess. And the goddess is the one who unified all these different birds and created the five feathered court. or the five-feathered order, which they reside at court. And so one of the major themes in Kill Three Birds is each egg has a mayor, basically. Think of it as a priest. Actually, it's a priest. It's called the doves are priests. And they are also mayors because the whole of Avis is run by the goddess religion. And so you have people who live inside the egg, like in Kingdom of Avis, it's like the finches and a few other, bird families. But there's also those who reside in the outer shell, which is outside the egg. The outer shell is where crows reside, where vultures reside, where roosters reside. And so they're kind of the people who don't worship the goddess. And so they're not allowed to live in the egg, but they serve inside the egg, right? So vultures are the funeral directors, they're the servants. And the roosters they don't worship the goddess, but they have their own like communities. Cupantino. There's a lot of little things like that. So I'm really big on puns. So there's a ton of puns in Kill Three Birds. And if you see it, it's on purpose. So there's a lot of little puns like that. But they all have their own individual communities. And what Prentice, who's a hawk, right? She's big bag investigator. Think of her like the BAU in Criminal Minds. She has to be invited out and requested, because there are a regulating body in every egg. They're the eagles. and if you think about the eagle is a symbol for America, and if you think about those who like to wave their flags and talk about I'm an American, America, those are eagles. And so what she does is she runs into conflict, of course, with investigating this. The eagles kind of don't want her there. There is an episode in Kill Three Birds where Prentice, so one of the things about being a hawk is that they can see the unseen, right? But when they engage their hawk abilities, it erodes their human eyesight. And so over time, Prentice will go blind. And her mom is and once you go blind as a hawk, you're retired from the order, and basically you're sent home and to produce more hawks. So that's kind of the drawback to magic, right? There's always a pro and a con. And so the more Princess uses her abilities, the faster. There are periods where right after where she can't see. She's blind. And so she engages her eyesight. She engages her powers in a particular scene, and she is blind afterwards. And so she ends up sitting down on a sidewalk in a residential community, and it's like maybe 11 o'clock at night. And she's just sitting there waiting for her sight to come back so she can fly back to her where she's staying. And she's accosted by the eagle. The eagles show up, and she knows it's eagles. She says she can just tell by the tone of their voice. She can't see them, right? They're big blurry images. And they basically, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be in this neighborhood. You are just, she's like, I'm sitting on the sidewalk. And they're like, well, and someone called it in. You're not, and that's the thing. They don't have cell phones. They have bird callers, and so that's how they. Their bird collars are phones, and so and they pay with bird song. I told you, there's a lot of puns.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you want to keep going?
No, I was just going to say there are scenes like that show up, and because again, it's
yes.
It's all about community. It's all about people. It's all about not taking people based on what their avian, like one of the most giving things she gets are from roosters. And so there's that. It's about identity. It's about expectations and stereotypes.
But I love it. I love the detail there. Great details.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about your theme. Is there something in the theme that you've personally experienced, or that it fascinates you, or Do you have an inspiration behind your theme?
So yes. So the thing that situation, lots of things that happen in Kill Three Birds in regards to the victim um, is Gertrude Finch, and so the issue with Gertrude is that she bucks the system. She is, again, remember, it's a matrilineal society, so there are a lot of expectations for her. The Finches have been in gold forever. And so there are, as the firstborn daughter, there are a lot of expectations. And I am also a firstborn daughter. And so a lot of what I wrote into Kill Three Birds deals with the burden or the challenges of being a firstborn and the expectations that your family have for you when you have your own expectations for your life.
Intense. I was firstborn too. I understand.
See?
Though my sister tells me often that I'm the experiment, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so there's that
too.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you want to tell potential readers about the diversity within your stories, and why should they give your diverse stories a shot?
Oh, wow. So if you like fun, so there's a lot of diversity in the sense that because they're all birds.
Right.
They do have certain characteristics though. And so I think that there is a certain degree of verisimilitude. You'll be able to see certain aspects of the way certain groups behave. You'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I know someone who behaves like that. Right. And so I definitely think that it's diverse enough to where people won't be bored. And I definitely think that if you're looking for a fantastic, thrilling, kind of suspenseful read, it's good for that. But because everyone is there are many, and it's a short novella, but I definitely think there are many strong themes of stereotypes, of expectations, of what it means to be human, what it means to care, and how issues of power and its a corruptibility. And so I definitely think that those are familiar themes that people will pick up on, but because it's such a diverse world in the sense that there are all these different birds and all these different socioeconomic groups,
Yes.
I definitely think that there's enough verisimilitude for readers to actually enjoy and to see representations of themselves and the people they know within that story.
Okay. So I think you've told us about your diverse protagonist, who she is, and but do you want to tell readers what's at stake for her?
Right. So Prentice, it was at stake for her in terms of it, a lot of her interactions, because she comes from a big metropolitan city to a very small city. She has to learn real quick about the politics of gold, right? But she also has to confront some of her own prejudices and stereotypes and beliefs about certain bird groups. One of my characters is non-binary. A couple of my characters are lesbian, but she has certain expectations of what she thinks about certain groups, especially those in the outer shell. And her vulture driver. And so she has to confront those things. And I think she grows during the course of just to learn how to trust people too, because she tends to work alone. Even though hawks are usually paired with condors, for this particular investigation, she is not. She's solo, and she doesn't trust any of the people in gold because everyone's a suspect.
Right.
And so, but that brings with it a level of, it puts her in danger of not. And so the dove there, his name is Balthazar, is like, look, A, it's my egg. B, you got to tell me what's going on. She doesn't know if he's a suspect. Everyone's a suspect. So she struggles with that. And that, of course, I think we all find times where we're new to a place were the only ones there. She's the only hawk in gold. And who do you trust? These people have, and Balthazar tells her, he says, look, I have to live here when you leave.
Yes.
And so there's all this, all these type of political strife and things that happen that she has to deal with. And I think that forces her to confront her own personality flaws.
Biases, maybe.
And biases as well. Yeah.
All right, then. Okay, so are you ready to share your piece?
Yes, give me 1 second. I need to. I'm here. This is the day my allergies decided to
act up. I understand.
All right, so I need to. So I'm going to be reading from, of course, I'm going to be reading from Kill Three Birds, but a little excerpt. I absolutely love this book.
Okay.
I know it's weird, and people are like, of course she loves this book. It's her book. And I do love all of my books, but this one is probably like one of my favorites.
One of your favorites.
Yeah, okay, let me. So this is from chapter 1, and I'm going to read a little bit of an excerpt from there. All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. You want to see what a killer looks like? Look in the reflecting glass. Prentice Taffia said over her shoulder. Her voice rose above the evening's insects chittering. Not getting a reply, she stood up and looked over to Dove Balthazar. Anyone is capable of killing. Those who are with the goddess and follow along her path don't slaughter others, Dove Balthazar said, with a sweeping arm across the bloodied body between them. The white gold-trimmed leaves of his cloak just missed the carnage. Hawk Princess, try to remember how this woman lived, holy, pure. She's a teenager. Prentice pinched the bridge of her nose and sighed. Balthazar, like most in the royal egg, was about to discover the true nature of human beings. Anyone was capable of great violence when dumped in the right situation. Doves like him only saw goodness in people. That was their role. She put her attention back on the body. Despite the velvety darkness enveloping the sight, Princess used her skill to observe what most people missed. This wasn't a homicidal rage. The body was covered in blood, but Prentice could tell she'd been hit with a blunt object. Her hands bore defensive wounds, and a pit tightened in the bottom of the hawk's stomach. Do you want to talk about the skeletal remains found over there in the woods? We can wait on that one. Tomorrow will be soon enough. Prentice watched his face. Balthazar paused. His index finger pointed at Prentice's chest. Her scarlet cloak, dark dress cinched at the waist and crossed with a leather gun belt that contained her talons, covered her entire body. Skeletal remains? He gaped. There's no rush. There's a depression in the grass. The trail has gone cold anyway. Body's been there a while. Prentice shook her head. She stepped back from the current corpse, moving to the trail that snaked through the woods behind the church. Like most eggs, this one had a centralized location to worship. The 2 men, suspects, who came here. 2 men? How do you know there were 2? How do you know there were men? Balthazar followed her to the warm path, his white cloak grabbing leaves and other ground debris in his wake. Prentice took out a cigarette, hand-rolled with tobacco. She snapped her fingers, sparking a flame. She touched the cigarette tip and inhaled deep and long. When she exhaled the stream of purple smoke through her nostrils, Balthazar scowled. Answer me, Hawk Taffia, he coughed. Can you stop smoking? No, Prentice said. No, you can't stop or no, you can't answer me. Balthazar's thick eyebrows rose in question. I requested, help from the order. We have a real situation here. Some of my nesters are dead. The eagles have no idea what's going on. Prentice sighed. Yeah, and the cardinal sent me, the hawk. Let me work. The smell of blood is disturbing and turns my stomach. I'm not a condor, okay? She didn't want to explain to him that smoking kept her from puking at death scenes. Yet underneath the putrid odor, something else surfaced. It hinted strongly of earth magic tinged with something black. How did you know about the skeletal remains? We searched the grounds after we found Gretchen. Hawks see the unseen. Prentice pointed to her hazel eyes, wide and large, stretched from the bridge of her nose out toward her temples. From a young age, Hawk's appearance unsettled others. She had spent a lot of her childhood in the New Biani with her family. Her male siblings went out to school, to work, homeschooled by the Rooks. Prentice and her sisters worked hard on their studies. She adjusted her headscarf and sighed. In her role, she saw what ordinary people missed. She'd been born with this gift. As a descendant of Hawks, her mother worked for the Order, trained as the investigative arm of the Order. Hawks were dispatched to see what others could not. Now, here she stood in the remote Gold Egg, a small community of 300 to 500 people, a scenic gem on the 4,000 acres of sprawling woodland. We have a real problem here. Someone is using your woods as a dumping ground. Prentice rubbed her right temple. She dropped the cigarette, ground it out with the toe of her boot.
Okay. That was fantastic. Now I want to know what happened. Okay, so tell us, where should readers go to find your work?
You can find my work at mochamemoirspress.com. You can find it at amazon.com and a variety of other online stores. It's coming soon to like Sister Sci-Fi, and if you're in Charlotte, you can find my work at Park Road Books. So yeah, a variety of places.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I'd also like to hear what readers think about Nicole's stories too. Feel free to post a comment on my blog and either I or Nicole will respond. Okay, guys, I'm author Alicia McCalla, and I write science fiction and fantasy stories for readers who want diverse protagonists and unique storylines. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support me or donate to my cup of tea fund, just head on over to my blog on my website, find this post, and click the donate button at the bottom. And if you're not one of my subscribers and want to join my League of Heroes, go to www.aliciamccalla.com to sign up for my newsletter and to get updates, learn about my latest projects, and purchase my diverse sci-fi and fantasy stories. If you're already one of my subscribers, thank you so much, and please feel free to share this podcast with anyone you think might enjoy it. Okay, until next time. All right, Nicole, we gotta do Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever. And thanks for listening.